Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about the lose-lose game, part 3 of 4, which is about putting on acts. And from the point of view of a person who plays the victim, they always want to hide the fact that they live as a victim, and so they pretend that they're not a victim. That's called putting on acts. What makes people do that? Well, I'll tell you closer to the end. Now, so from part 1, living as a victim, when you operate your life from the point of view that you're not in charge of yourself, you live as a victim to events, to circumstances, to your own mind. From part 2, living in uncertainty, when you operate your life from the point of view that you're a victim, it creates uncertainty. So this video, part 3, is about putting on acts. When you operate your life from the point of view, right, that you are uncertain, then you pretend. We all have insecurities. It's a part of being human. And for some people, their insecurities can be so overwhelming that they feel the need to pretend to be someone or something that they're not. And there's many reasons why people put on acts. They might be afraid of rejection, or they may not like to be judged, or they might feel like they need to live up to a certain image, whatever the reason. Pretending to be something or someone that you're not is difficult, takes a lot of energy, it's exhausting and harmful not only to you, but to those around you. So let's go to the next slide. There we go. So, what are some attributes of putting on people that put on acts? What are some of the behaviors that they display? Okay, so here are some of the ways that you can tell how people pretend to be something that they're not when they're insecure, right? So they put on a facade. They have fear of rejection. They have a feeling of being judged. They have a need to live up to an image, but the image is not theirs. It's somebody else's image. There's somebody else's, what they fabricate in their mind, somebody's image of them. They appear to be more confident than they really are. They appear to be more outgoing when they're really not. They appear to be more successful than they really are. They hide the flaws or weaknesses that they have, so they're in hiding, right? They're putting on an act, pretending that none of this stuff is true. They are chronic liars about the past, the present, the future. They lie about just about everything. And why? It's not because they're lying because they want to. It's lying because they are hiding. They don't want people to know the truth about them. And I'm going to be talking about later what that truth really is and what exactly they're hiding. So they have a need to conform. They have a desire to fit in with a certain crowd. They sacrifice their own identity, so their real person, who they are, doesn't shine through. They dress and talk in a certain likable way. So if they have to wear certain clothes, ties, slacks, blouse, whatever it may be, hairdo that they think other people will like, or they will like, other people will like better, so that they can fit in, things like that. They'll fit into common music genres that other people like just to fit in. They do things weird, like put other people down to feel better about themselves. And this is, stuff like this is at an unconscious level. And they criticize others, their appearance, their intelligence, their accomplishments. So it gets really strange behaviors. Now, so the thing is, to pretend to be something that you're not always has consequences, and it leads to feeling isolated, lonely, feelings of anxiety. It damages your relationships, not only with others, but with yourself. And these all are symptoms. They're not the cause. These are symptoms. Understand that. So I'm going to tell you shortly what the cause is. And there are payoffs. There are payoffs and there are ripoffs. What is a payoff? Payoff is what you gain, is what you get out of it. There are benefits that you gain or other people gain from putting on an act. And if people didn't get something out of it, they wouldn't do it. Okay. So what are some of the payoffs? Well, in some instances, it minimizes conflict, because if they put on an act or pretend that they're not in conflict, then it will minimize the conflict, even though they may have opposing values or what have you. They can come from a place that everybody likes them, even though they're fake. They can, get this feeling that, oh yes, I'm cool like the rest of the people, so therefore they love me. The payoff could be that people tell them uh, how good I am. I'm such a great person for doing certain things, for giving my body parts away, um, uh, for for being generous, for giving money. There's all sorts of things, payoffs that people, for putting on this big act. That I can also be popular. I want to talk in the first person, not in the second person, like you. I I minimize conflict. Everybody will like me if I pretend. People tell me how good I am. I can be popular. I can't get hurt, because if I put on an act and pretend that I'm not hurt, then I can't get hurt. Um, I can be anything to anyone, anytime, any place. I don't get embarrassed. So there's lots and lots of payoffs. So what about the ripoff? The ripoff is what you do to pretend, right, to be something that you're not. That something that takes away from you by putting on an act. Okay, that I don't get to know the real me, and no one gets to know the real me, right? Not even me. I feel lonely. I feel trapped. I always feel bad from the lies that I'm telling. I have to maintain my act. Sometimes I forget which act I was putting on with someone, and then I have to try to, I said this, I said that. So it becomes this mind boggling game of confusion, and I lose self respect because I don't love myself anymore. I don't care. I just completely give myself away because I'm so insecure about all these things. I have all this, it's wasted energy. And of course, I'm always tired and I'm not spontaneous. I'm not happy. I don't feel like a little child, a little innocent, happy child. And I become heavy and serious, and all this bad shit happens. It's just not really good at all. So, you know, um, where does what does it all have to do with? It all has to do with insecurities, hiding insecurities. Where does insecurities come from? They come from not being true to yourself. There it is right there. When you're not true to yourself, you're not keeping your word to yourself. Oh, well, this is from my past. This is because my father or my mother or my stepfather or my stepbrother or somebody did something wrong to me, and now it needs to be right before I have, a normal life and I can begin to think straight again. No, 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 no. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It has everything to do with you and the way that you live by your own word. Because all that stuff is external. Nothing else matters. It's your personal integrity about the way that you feel about you. So, where does the insecurity come from? Not being true to yourself. What does that mean? Not keeping your word, letting yourself slide, letting yourself have unhealthy habits, knowingly creating health issues from bad habits, low personal standards like being disorganized and messy, having your house and your environment messy, your desk at work messy. I can't find anything because I'm just messy and this is just who I am and this is my no, that's not true. It's what you're choosing to be. You're creating a messy mind, and that's the bottom line. You're creating a messy mind. So some of you aren't going to believe me. I don't care. You don't have to. What I want you to do is an experiment. Some of you think that all this confusion comes from your past. No, 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 no. It isn't. Our number one responsibility as a human, as an adult human, is to create a healthy mind and a healthy body. And when you break that oath, right, it's like you live in hell. And when we're born, we're given this amazing, perfect almost perfect. Some people are born not so perfect and they have problems, but for the most part, most of us, probably those who are listening, have all that you need, and you just live in a mind of swirling confusion. So it's important to remember, first of all, that you're not alone. Everybody feels insecure at some point, you know, and it's important to find a way to be true to your word, to follow through. What does that mean? Okay, so when you tell yourself you're going to exercise, go exercise. When you tell yourself you're going to eat healthy, then you eat healthy. When you balance your alcohol intake, you balance your alcohol intake, right? And how do you feel, right? When you do those things, you feel good, you feel better, and then you do it even more, you feel even better, and then you feel better, and then the more you feel better about doing those things, the less insecure that you feel, because you don't have to hide it anymore. Everybody knows that our number one responsibility is to take care of this body and this mind, and when you don't do that, we want to hide it. That's the bottom line. So what are some things that we can do differently? Number one, I've been saying this for a long time, ask for help. Don't be the kid in the back of the classroom that never raises their hand and then you get bad grades. No, don't do that. It doesn't work. Okay? Find a way to become accountable. Find an accountability buddy. I've been doing this for years and years and years, where I put people into groups, and they become accountable to each other when they do things like, define their own standards, when they make a plan, when they put and take on personal agreements. Okay, these are the things that work, but you have to have an environment where you can do that. It's very, very important. When you're making personal agreements, right, you start small and you work up to more challenging things. So test it out, do it on your own for a while, see if you can do it. Go for one day without having a smoke. Go for one day and do your exercise, or do whatever it is that you feel like you need to do, a meditation, to become a little bit more healthy than you were the day before, or to let go of something that you've been holding on to, something that somebody said to you. Let go of it. Do it for one day, do it for 1 minute, and then extend it, right? But you have to find an environment where it's safe to make mistakes. So remember, you're not your insecurities. Those are the byproducts of you not handling yourself by living unrightly, if you will. You're a valuable and unique individual. If you do, if you choose to be, you can be a valuable person to a lot of people. But when you're a mess, right, you're not very valuable to other people. So if you want to feel proud of yourself and who you are, you have to find a way to become more and more disciplined, more and more accountable with yourself. It's the only way. And as long as you have excuses and reasons why you can't, this, that, and the other thing, you're going to live as a victim. And it starts the whole cycle over again, living as a victim, living in uncertainty, putting on an act, pretending that everything is okay, or that you're not the way that you are, that you're letting yourself off the hook, right? So you have to find this place where you can be in an environment where you're allowed to make mistakes, right? So it only winds up you feeling lonely, scared, trapped, low energy, right? You spend most of the time in your head talking to yourself, and very little time in your heart, where you ideally want to be. That's where everybody wants to be, and that's where they pretend to be. Most people, this is not connected to this. There's a disconnect in there. And the only way to connect it up is to be true to your word, follow through, be true to yourself. And everything else falls into place after that. Find an environment, right? So part 4 of 4 is coming up. The next video I'm going to be doing in the audio and the podcast, right? So what are we really covering up by putting on an act? Our insecurities. Where do you fabricate your acts? Right here, all in your mind. You piece everything together in your brain. You fabricate your acts in your brain, right? In your mind, with the thoughts that you are creating. Nobody else is creating those thoughts for you. You create them. You're making them up. And most of the time, they come from confusion. Confusion from mess. Messy, messy, messy everywhere around you. Clean up your life, clean up yourself, and your mind will get clearer and clearer. And things will begin to happen in magical ways that you never thought possible. So part 4 of 4 is about how we end up living our lives in our mind, caught up in all the crap, living in a never-ending cesspool of confusing thoughts. There is a way out. I call it the win-win game. I'm going to be going through that in the next series. So stay tuned. I'll see y'all later. Have yourself a good day, good evening. If you got value from this, please like it, share it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button so you'll get a notification when I post another video or audio. You can do this in the Self Achievement Network podcast also. Take care and bye-bye for now.